Hey everybody, time for another Stu story. In honor of it being Friday night and me wearing my D-Zone shirt, which I often do, I'll be going to a game tonight, football game, Friday Night Lights. It's in Roseville, which is near Warren. It's going to be Grosse Pointe South versus Roseville. Great game. I only go to good games, at least try to. And I thought I'd mention a little history here about the company. When I moved to Michigan in 2004, it was maybe by then 2006, I had the idea to start a company called the Local Stew, which is a play off my name, yes. And the idea behind that business was I was living in West Bloomfield, didn't really know what was going on with the town events or some of the merchants or some of the news, whatever it was. And I had the idea to start something where I could create a platform where people can go to this site and find out everything that's going on in their town. And I was going to take that from town to town and keep expanding. And I ended up doing it in West Bloomfield, Royal Oak, and Novi. And we were putting out tons of content. But what we realized quickly was it was going to be very hard to get advertising dollars from local merchants. A lot of them don't have a lot of money to spend. They don't have a lot of technical wherewithal to create banners, and it just wasn't going to be financially rewarding business. It'd be very hard to make the money needed to keep it going. Also, the content itself was boring. Some of this town news and events, it just wasn't that exciting. So I put a ton of money in this business, creating this great platform, which allowed people to add their own content. We could add content. It was really actually awesome, but it wasn't making money, and I wasn't going to keep going down that road. So I shut it down. But in the back of my mind, I always said I would like to create something else with this platform that was some content that I was passionate about, but also would be exciting and engaging and get traffic and whatnot, which the local still wasn't doing. So it was high school sports. I have always had a weird affinity, whatever the word is, to liking high school sports, especially basketball and football, which are the two biggest high school sports by far. The lion's share of the fan base, the recruiting, and the news and the interest. So my idea was to take the Local Stew and change it to a high school football and basketball site. So I decided to reach out to some writers around the area that were high school sport writers, and most of them weren't really interested, and they didn't even respond to me. But I wasn't going to stop. So then I found out about this guy who had this blog, which is what it was, but he also had a big social media presence, and it was called the D-Zone, and he was doing just football, and he was doing interviews and some rankings and just some content, and he had quite a following. So I reached out to the guy. His name was Jeff Corian, and he was only, I think, in his 20s at the time, young, and he had a full-time job, and he was doing this on the side, which was absolutely incredible to have this much success as a side gig. It was a tremendous amount of work he was putting into it. So I'm like, we got to meet, man. So we ended up meeting at a Starbucks in Target. I think it was in Sterling Heights. And I immediately liked Jeff, and we just immediately hit it off with each other. And I told him I want to take my platform and change it into a huge, like I said, high school sports platform, which will have schedules and scores and rankings and highlight videos. And he was doing some of that already, but he had no platform and just didn't have maybe some of the business acumen that I had. So we agreed to become partners, and that was 8 years ago. And immediately we changed some things he was doing and improved some of the things he was doing. But we added a lot more content. But probably the biggest thing we did was we added videos and highlights, and we started the D-Zone 100, and then a couple of years ago we started doing events, and now we do some of the biggest events in Michigan. And the D-Zone right now is the biggest sports media company in the state as far as traffic. We get almost 20 million impressions a month on our content, and we're close to having some sponsorships, and we do plan to take it to some other states. It's a very unique company. I'm very proud of it, and that's the story of the D-Zone, how it came to be, or where it is now, at least, because Jeff did start it 10 years ago, actually about 12 years ago, and we've been partners for 8 years. Take care.